I was out of town for a few days, so I didn't record anything. But I'm back and I was doing a lot of thinking after some recent experimentation with setting the alter.ini file a certain way, which sort of juiced some of the skill ups in a weird way. And I also then looked at this level up pacing overhaul by a developer named Kielpus. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is the link. It's 1294. And if we just go there and look at his website, you can see he has a nice little chart here, which I've copied over. And this is, I probably should have gone with this one rather than the one I did, because this one, like the edits to the alter.ini file, does what I was hoping to do, which was to slow down the leveling process by reducing the amount of experience that skills give to your leveling process. Unfortunately, the other way I did it, it was just slowing everything down. So I was leveling normally, just like in slow motion, right? The same number of skill ups would give me a level as would otherwise, but now it's like I was moving through molasses to get to the next level. I was having fun, don't get me wrong, but that's not my original intention. So I'm looking at this one more seriously, and you can read all about, what it's supposed to do, how it changes the leveling system, and there's other mods that are trying to do this as well. So you can look at those as well. And I'm still not decided about what I want to do, but if we just take this chart, for example, and these numbers, this is the original leveling speed of remastered, where you're going to reach max level at around level 43, or he says exactly 43. And I'm sort of eyeing the one that is 2.2 times slower, which is really just the same as saying 45% as fast, where you would reach max level at about level 31, right? So here's like the skill increases and how they affect level. So here's an example of, if you look at the blue one here, this is how vanilla, which means Oblivion remastered with no alterations to the skill leveling speed. This is how fast you would level up. So you zip, 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 zip right up here, right? And over here, and it only takes like, 60 skill increases to get to level 6. Whereas if I went with like the super slow one, it takes like over 120 or 130 or whatever, right? So I can skill up a lot more things, so I can hit things with the blade more, and I'm not leveling like zing, 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 zing to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I want. And of course, his recommended, or her recommended, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, is 2.2 times slower, which is the red one here, right here. So what does that look like? I did some testing, and I actually leveled a brand new character from scratch using a sword and board, and I tried to do just about the same number of things each time. They were a combat spec, willpower, and endurance as favorite attributes. Then I always chose these major skills when that option came up. I tried it the first time at the 100%, and that ended up leaving me right around here as far as how close I was to leveling to level 2. And you can see here, I recorded the ending tally of what my skills were and how many skill increases that represented. So with 14 discrete skill increases among those items listed above, I was able to get from all the way over here to over here, right? I did it again at the recommended 2.2. I got 12 increases, so keep that in mind. It's not exactly 14. So if I had 14, I might have been maybe a little bit over here, a little bit, right? I did it again one last time at the extreme, which was the 4.0 effort multiplier. So you have to expend 4 times as much effort to level, which gives you a 25% leveling speed. And this is where I ended up, and I ended up doing a few more things. So I got 15 skill increases, but I only went from here to here. So these two are close enough that, these should match up as far as like, notice how this one is not 4 times the length of this one, because the way that the skills, as you level them up, contribute more XP. So it's just weird. It's not always linear. It's logarithmic and it's complicated, but I just wanted to show you that I did try to do these tests just to prove out the idea of what this thing is claiming. And it is showing it to be true, right? So I did level up more, and because the way the other one was working, they would all be the same, right? It would just take me 4 times as long to get there. Or longer to get there. So with all that in mind, let's look closer at the 2.2 times leveling. So I pulled up my character, the save 98, which was the one that I started with the most recent time, right? And that was 35 strength, intelligence. You can see the numbers right here, right? And I copied those numbers right down here. So this is what she was, level 1, as she was exiting the sewers. So this person who wrote the mod predicts that I'll be capped at 31. And what that means is that all of my skills that I can use to level up my character will be 100 across the board. That means, blade, blunt, whatever, all the way down the line. So once you reach 100 in all of those, you can't level anymore because, or at least that's in theory, that's how I read it. Maybe you still can, I don't know. You don't get any more points that you can spend over here. I haven't ever been that high, so I don't know. I'm just going by what that is. So I just wanted to at least do the initial calculations of what that might look like if my assumption is true. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying if it is. So I did a simulation, and I pretended like I was leveling a new character, just leaving the sewer, making sure to spend 12 virtue points, not anything in luck, at least not initially. Just this is like pretending that luck wasn't important, which some people say it's not, because by the time these are 100, luck has taken sort of a back seat and really only affects things like arena betting, which I generally don't do. So let's assume this for the moment. I did some calculations here. So I'm basically spending, 5 here, 5 here, 2 here. That adds up to 12. 5 here, 5 here, 2 more here. And I do that all the way across until something's 100. And then I sort of bounce around to a different set of 3. And remember, you always have to level 3 of them. No more, no less. Sort of confining when you reach over here and you're like trying to figure out, okay, how do I spend 2 here, but 5 here and 5 here? Okay, that works. So I have 5 here, but now I can't spend 5 here because now I have to spend 1 here because that's the only thing I can spend it on. So there's 5 here and 3 here and 1 point there, right? Because the math is that it takes the sum of these minus the sum of these, and then the difference between these two multiplied by 4. So I always have to have 12, because you always have to spend 12, and you always have to spend it on 3 of them. It gets really competitive near the end when you start running out of places to spend the points, right? So you almost have to plan in advance, lest you find yourself unable to keep leveling because you don't have anything to spend it on, right? Like maybe you've set this up incorrectly. It's just really weird. I will be mathing mine out using sort of a planner in this way so I don't bork myself at the end. So like if I look at my character the way she is now, because I've already leveled luck up to 70. So if we scroll down and look at her, you can see this is how she was leveled so far. So I spent all the way to 70. And I don't know what I spent the others on, but I just said, okay, if I did this, how could I maximize all the others getting over to here? So I ended up maximizing everything up to here, where speed is suffering by 30 points because, this is what it looks like up here, right? I just copy these numbers down. If luck stayed the same way until 30, right? And I didn't spend any points until 30 like I did here, then luck only gets to 62 instead of 71 because I had to spend a point here in order to be able to buy 3 categories, right? You have to buy 3. It's really annoying. Otherwise, it won't let you level. At least I haven't been able to. I should actually look at that to see if I can say, I don't care, just level me anyway, even though I didn't spend all the points. I don't know. Maybe there's a mod for that if you can't. So anyway, 5 points here, 3 points here, 4 points there. Now I'm 12 here. And I can just delete that one because that's just not really necessary. Whoops. So this is, as a point of reference, I sacrificed luck right here to get my speed all the way to 100. And then personality, which doesn't really matter that much at all. You can get it to 100, but it doesn't really matter. It really only affects NPC disposition towards you. And you can use a charm spell to basically bypass that completely. So this is sort of irrelevant. So the weird thing about this is I have a decision to make, right? I can either keep going the way I'm going, because this changing up the way I'm leveling midstream does really weird things to the way the math works behind the scenes. I don't fully understand it. I know it's, all these logarithms going up here and there, and it's just really confusing, and I don't want to math it all out. But the net sum is I'm sitting here at level 12. I'm ready to turn 13. You can see it's pegged there, but I don't have the little icon in the top right corner saying, time to level up, go sleep, right? So I'm just sort of stuck waiting until one of these skills, any of them, hits the next level, and then it'll go, oh, you can now go sleep. Well, I tried this a few times and I got to like level 14. So it sort of banked all these extra skills until level 14. So it's just the way the curves work. It's like, if we go back over here, if I were at these curves, it's like I'm stuck at one of these other, I'm stuck at this one right here, but now I switch over here and now I have all this extra sleep ready to go, right? And I just don't want to math it out, and it's just really complex. So now I have to decide, do I want to keep with my current character, right, and just keep doing this, or do I want to backtrack and just start from 1 with the 2.2 leveling and get to 31 this way? Maybe this one I get to 30 or 29 because of the way it's all borked. I don't know. I really have no clue what's going to happen if I keep going with her. I don't want her to be leveling the way she was, because it's going to take me 400 hours to get to level 40. It's not that fun after a while to skill up that slowly. And that's the other thing. Not only am I moving in slow motion, but my skills are moving up so slowly. And having done this slow testing, I was having a blast because I was getting skill ups left and right, but I wasn't leveling my skill, my character level, right? Like here, I would hit level 2 shortly after leaving the sewers and doing a few other things. Here, it would take me a lot longer to hit level 2, and then longer still to hit level 3, and then 4. I could be leveling up my skills and doing all sorts of interesting things. So I'm sort of screwing myself over by using the mod that I was using, which I'm not using now. Anyway, long story short, I have a decision to make. Do I keep Brill the way she is and sort of hope for the best using this weird hybrid before and after system? Or do I go back and do it again from level 1? And maybe even change some of these attributes. Put more in strength, take away some from speed, maybe decide to go sword and board, because that's really fun to play. I could bump up the difficulty then, because sword and board is like easy mode, especially if you're throwing in casting, because you're that much closer to the armor cap, especially with a shield, because a shield, once you get your block all the way to 100, you take no damage. Nothing can hurt you. It's bizarre, at least in this version of the game. I was watching videos explaining that from the old Knight. Anyway, that's where I am. I hope that made sense. I know it's long-winded, but that's my thought process. I'm going to take a day, think about it, and then I'll probably do one thing or the other. No idea what it'll be. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. And yes, Mike M., thanks for thinking it's interesting. I think it's interesting, but most people would be like, God, get to the point.